So you think you know all about nouns, right? Person, place, thing, easy. But what if I told you they're way more than just words on a page? They're actually the building blocks we use to shape our reality, to tell our stories, to make sense of the world. Let's put that to the test with a quick question.
Okay, take a look at these. I mean, on the surface, they seem totally different, right? One's a general idea, one's a very specific spot on the map, and the other is that feeling you get after a really, really long week. So, what's the connection?
Yep, you probably guessed it. They are all nouns. But, and this is the important part, they each do a completely different job. And understanding these jobs, that's the secret to making your communication way more precise and a whole lot more powerful.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll tackle the big question of specificity. Then we'll explore the difference between mind and matter. After that, we'll get into how we count and own stuff. And finally, we'll unlock your new noun superpower.
Before we dive into our first category, let's just get one thing straight here in what we'll call Noun Town. At their core, every single noun is just a label. That's it. A label for a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. They're just the names we give to everything that exists, both in the real world and in our heads.
All right, our first stop is the biggest, most fundamental difference in the entire world of nouns, and it all comes down to one question. How specific do you want to be? Are you talking about any old thing or one particular thing? So, on the one hand, you've got common nouns. Just think of them as general categories. Grandmother, city. It could be any grandmother, any city. But on the other hand, you've got proper nouns. These get specific. They have names, you capitalize them, and they point to one single unique thing. Grandma Jane, New York City. Now, this isn't just a boring grammar rule, it's a storytelling choice. A character isn't just a detective, he's Sherlock Holmes. That specificity makes him feel real. See the difference? One's like a blueprint, and the other is the actual building.
Okay, our next big distinction moves away from naming things and gets into the very nature of the noun itself. Is this something that's part of the physical world, or does it exist only in our minds?
And this is where it gets really interesting, because this is what separates our physical world from our inner world. Concrete nouns are all the things you can experience with your five senses. You can feel the warmth of sunshine, you can hear a song. But abstract nouns, those are concepts, emotions, qualities. You can't touch pride, you can't really see exhaustion, you can only feel them. You know who loves this? Advertisers. They don't just sell you a car, they sell you freedom. They're selling an abstract idea that's attached to a concrete thing. So here's a super simple little trick for you. If you're ever stuck, just ask yourself this question. Can I see it or touch it? If the answer is yes, you've got a concrete noun. If the answer is no, it is almost definitely abstract. It's a simple test that can clear things up in a second.
Okay, for our next set of tools, let's get a bit more practical. This group of nouns isn't really about what things are so much as how we organize them, how we count them up, group them together, and figure out who owns what.
First up, count nouns. And yeah, the name pretty much says it all. These are the individual items that you can just slap a number on. 1 horse, 2 horses, $1, $10. They can be singular, they can be plural. Pretty simple, right?
But then you've got the opposite, non-count nouns. You might also hear these called mass nouns. And these are for substances or concepts that we don't usually count as separate units. For example, you don't say I have 3 foods, you say you have some food. You can't have 2 rains, you just have rain. We treat them as a whole thing.
And to finish up this section, we have 2 really useful tools. A collective noun is a great shortcut for talking about a whole group as just one thing, like a family or a hive. And then there's the possessive noun, with that little apostrophe s, which just shows who owns what, like the father's key. Super efficient.
Theory is great and all, but let's actually see how these pieces fit together. We're going to build a sentence piece by piece, starting with a collective noun that pulls a bunch of people into one group, the family.
Okay, now let's give that family a feeling, an abstract noun. They felt great pride. See what we did there? We're describing a shared, invisible feeling that belongs to the whole group.
And let's finish it off in their grandmother's house. And there you have it. Just like that, we've got a collective noun, family, an abstract noun, pride, and a possessive noun, grandmothers, all working together perfectly in one simple sentence. How cool is that?
So, we've gone through all these different types. But what's the big deal? I mean, why does any of this matter outside of an English class? Well, This knowledge is basically a superpower.
Because when you really understand the tools you're working with, you can build much better things. Knowing when to be general or specific, tangible or emotional, that's not just about being correct, it's about being effective. It's the difference between being kind of vague and being crystal clear. It gives you total control over your message.
I want you to let this idea really sink in. Every single time you choose a noun, you are defining something. You're drawing a circle around an idea, and you're giving it a name. They aren't just labels, they're the actual substance of your thoughts brought to life.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. The next time you sit down to write an email or tell a story or even just explain an idea to a friend, think about your choices. Which tools are you going to pull from your new noun toolbox to build your world?